Hello there, it's Cassie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. Today I am super excited to be guest designing for Scrapping for Less's February Flavor of the Month card kit. This month's theme is Whip It Up. So let's go ahead and take a look at what comes in the Double Dip Sundae ingredients as well as the Banana Split add-on. This package contains a lot of crafty goodness, and I love how cute it's packaged with all that little confetti. And this here is the first collection. This is collection 1 called Cupcake Cuties. It's going to come with the Cupcake Cuties paper by Scrapping for Less. This is the Baking Marcy stamp by La La Land Crafts. Here is the Sequence Mix by Scrapping for Less. And it also comes with a couple more embellishments that just didn't come in my kit yet, but I guarantee they will be in your kit when you order it. They come with cupcake liner papers and a roll of cupcake ribbon by American Crafts. But these papers are just gorgeous. They are so high quality and thick, and you can see there's a little bit of gloss to them as well. And it also comes with an envelope. The second collection is called Baked with Love, and this one is going to come with the lot of goodies in here. It's got the Baking Luca stamp by La La Land Crafts. Isn't he adorable? It also comes with this sequin mix by Scrapping for Less. It comes with these Baked with Love Ephemeral by Scrapping for Less. And these are super high quality as well, and they match the papers so perfectly. Aren't those cute? And then the papers are the Baked with Love paper by Scrapping for Less. I just can't get over this quality of paper. And the designs are just so cute. It was hard to decide when I was making my cards which papers to use, that's for sure. So I'm glad that I have plenty left over. And it also comes with an envelope. The only thing missing from this one were the baking stickers by Sticko, but those will come as well. This is collection 3 called Let's Bake a Pie, and it comes with the Cutie Pie stamp set by Lawn Fawn. Adorbs. It also comes with these Handmade with Love round stickers by SB Labels, and these recipe labels by Doris. And this is the Sequin Mix by Scrapping for Less. And it also has these beautiful papers called Let's Bake a Pie paper by Scrapping for Less as well. And again, super high quality and beautiful colors. Oh, I love these. Collection 4 is called Cookies and Milk. And this one, oh my gosh, so cute. Brought back reading to my kids is what it did, because this little stamp set is called the Cookie Mouse stamp by Scrapping for Less. And it has all those great sentiments in there. You know, if you give a mouse a cookie, basically. So cute. It comes with these cute little mice die by Gina Marie Designs. It has 3 of them in there. And they're so tiny, but they're so cute. It comes with some Baker's Twine by Doris. Oh, and the Sequin Mix. This is the Sequin Mix by Scrapping for Less. And there's the Baker's Twine. And then here's the Cookies and Milk paper by Scrapping for Less, along with an envelope. Once again, beautiful papers. So hard to decide which side you're going to use. But they're so pretty. And like I said, I can't get over the quality. Just so great. And then this is the Banana Split option. So this is an add-on. And this has the Whisk and Rolling Pin, or the Whiskey Business stamp by Scrapping for Less. I love that. And it has the Whisk and Rolling Pin die by La La Land Crafts, along with some Diamond Sugar Dust by Craft Decor and a Heart Silver Glossy Dots by Pink and Main. And here are the papers. It comes with 2 sheets of Neenah 110 Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. It comes with Sour Apple, Razzleberry, Blue Raspberry, Wild Cherry, Grout Gray, and Craft, all by My Favorite Things. For the collection 1 card, I have a piece of Razzleberry cardstock that I have trimmed down to 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and then I'm scoring that at 5 1/2 inches because that's going to be my top folding A2 size card base. I've also taken some of the Neenah 110 Pound Classic Smooth Solar White cardstock, and I trimmed that down as well, and I'm putting that into my Mini Misty. And I'm going to line up my Baking Marcy stamp by La La Land Crafts, and I'm going to ink that up with some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. That is my favorite ink for Copic coloring. So I've stamped that out a couple times because I want to make sure that I have a good crisp image. And then I'm going to color that with the Copics. I'm not going to show you all the Copic coloring because otherwise this would be a very long video. But I've colored that and I've trimmed down my image. I'm going to go ahead and also use one of the sketches from the February Flavor of the Month card sketches. They always have some card sketches for you to check out on the website. I'll have stuff linked down below, of course. And I'm trimming down some of that really beautiful Cupcake Cuties paper by Scrapping for Less. That's going to go on top of my card base. I'm using some liquid glue to adhere down my little panel of that beautiful paper. And I do end up having a little bit of excess. So I'll line that up on my glass mat to make sure that I have it as straight as possible. And then I'll flip that over and I'll trim off the excess just with some scissors. I'm also going to use some of that liquid glue to adhere the circle down. I used my large circle Nestabilities and cut out that circle using some of that Neenah Classic Crest cardstock as well. I'll put that down. And then I'm going to cover my images with some foam tape on their back because I want to have a little bit of dimension. You know, I love me some dimension. So I'll peel off the backing paper and use my T-ruler to make sure that I have my sentiment nice and straight. And then I'll just peel off the backing paper on that cute little girl. And then I'll center her as best as possible. And then for a final bit of embellishment, I'm going to grab out those sequins. This sequin mix matches perfectly. I've noticed that Flavor of the Month does a fantastic job of matching their little embellishments. Makes it so easy to make cards. And so then I'll just use my Crystal Katana and some liquid glue to adhere down the sequins. Such a fun mix of colors. And once I'm done with that, that's going to finish off card number 1 for collection 1. Collection 2 is a fun little card. I love these papers in there. I've said that a zillion times. I love all these papers. But these seemed more masculine, which made sense because the little image, the Baking Luca, is a masculine kind of image. So I have trimmed down some cardstock, or the paper that came in the kit, and I'm going to use one of the Flavor of the Month card sketches for this one as well. My card base is going to be the Neenah 110-pound Classic Crest Smooth Solar White cardstock. And then I'm just going to start adhering those pieces that I've trimmed down. I've made them a little bit bigger. And the reason I did that is because oftentimes when I am trimming down pattern papers or cardstock, I have a tendency to undercut, make it smaller. And so I didn't want to make that mistake. So I just made it a little bit bigger, and I will trim it down later. You could do that with your paper trimmer or scissors or a guillotine trimmer or whatever it is you have on hand. But this just works well for me. And so I'm just using some liquid glue to adhere all the pieces down. Since I knew which sketch I wanted to use and I also knew which papers I wanted to use, I went ahead and did all that first. I just felt like this was easier, and so I will stamp my image here in a little bit after I get the card base itself all ready to go. Once again, finding the placement for these, and they're definitely longer than they need to be, but I'm just tacking those down with some liquid glue. Using my glass mat to make them fairly straight, but I'm also going to use my T-ruler here in a minute. Just making sure that they're fairly lined up, because that matches the card sketch. And these make it really easy. So not only do you get all of your little collections and all of your ingredients, but it makes it super easy when there's card sketches as well. You can come up with all different kinds of combinations. And so once I have those all exactly where I want them, I will flip everything over and just use my scissors to trim these down. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And then I'll move on to stamping my image. So I'm going to take some more of that Classic Crest Neenah cardstock, stick that into my Mini Misty. And the reason I like to use the Mini Misty is because with newer stamps, sometimes they don't always stamp out that great. So I typically have to stamp them a couple times, and once again doing the Memento Tuxedo Black ink because I did do some Copic coloring. And these videos aren't about the coloring, and it would have made these so long. That's why I didn't add the Copic coloring. And so I'm trimming, or I had trimmed down another panel of the Neenah cardstock, and I'm just going to tack that down with some liquid glue. And for my other pieces, I have foam tape on the back, and I'm going to grab my T-ruler so I can make sure that my sentiment is on there fairly straight. And then I'll take all the backing paper off of little Luca there, and then I will put him down as well. I do decide to take one of those pieces of ephemera and glue that on the inside. There's just so many great pieces, so you might as well. And for a final bit of embellishment, I'm just going to take some of the black sequins, and I'm going to tack those down using my crystal katana. And then once I have all those down, that'll finish off this second card using Collection 2. Collection 3's card may actually be my favorite, probably because it's more simple. But I did want to show that these little Handmade with Love stickers would be great on your envelopes. And you have 3 of them, so I thought that would be fun. So to start out, I'm going to stamp my sentiment onto the scrap of the Neenah cardstock that I have that came in the kit. And I'm just going to stamp the sentiment that says, "Hi, cutie pie." Adorable. I just love it. And so I had found in my stash of goodies the Labels Trio die. I've used it actually a couple times over this last few weeks. And it fit perfectly with the sentiment. So I stamped that sentiment and then stamped the little pies as well. I stamped them 3 times. And then I'm even going to stamp a little face on each of the pies. I debated, and I thought, no, that would be fun to have a little face on each of the pies, especially since the sentiment is "Hi, cutie pie." So I just used the same face on each of the pies. And I will color and cut those out separately, but I tacked down my label, and then I'm going to run that through my Sizzix Sidekick because it fits perfectly. And then off screen I will color and I will cut out each of the pies. Very simple coloring, and I just left a little white border around each of them. For my card base, I'm using some of the Wild Cherry cardstock that came in the kit. This is going to be a top folding A2 size card. I had a hard time deciding which paper I wanted to use, but I went ahead and decided on one of the solids. I do like that these have a little bit of a gloss sheen to them. Not gloss, but they're not like a matte finish. So I glued that down with some liquid glue, and then I took one of the recipe labels by Darice and just used my glass mat to line that up and stuck that down right onto my paper. I have put some foam tape around my sentiment, and then that just fit in there so perfectly. And I've kind of laid out how I want to do this card, but I just used some liquid glue for everything else. I'm tacking down each of my little pies, kind of overlapping them. And then I'll use my crystal katana to tack down some of the sequins from the sequins mix that came in this collection. And then that will finish off card number 3. I do love the simplicity of this one. So cute. For my collection 4 card, I decided I just had to make a shaker card. So I'm trimming down my cardstock, and I've made one a little smaller than the other. And then I'm going to use one of my large circle nestabilities and cut out a circle of the top cardstock. And then I'm actually going to use a piece of packaging for my window. You could use acetate. I figured reduce, reuse, recycle kind of thing. I have plenty of packaging sitting around, so I decided to cut down some of my packaging so that it would cover that window. And I'm just using some score tape in the 1/8 inch version, and I'm wrapping that all around the circle. And then I'll peel back that backing paper, and then I'll adhere that packaging just right down to that. So acetate, can be a little bit pricey. It works great, but so does packaging. So, if you've got some of that sitting around, save it. And then I just trimmed off a little bit of the excess. I decided to go ahead and get started working on my shaker itself. So I'm going to get my card base ready, and that is some of that blue raspberry. That was trimmed down to 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2 inches to make a top folding A2 size card. I'll use some liquid glue to adhere my back panel, which is some of that gorgeous patterned paper. I love those polka dots. And then I'll start wrapping my foam tape all around the circle, and this is just doubled up. I wanted to make sure that all the sequins had plenty of room to jump around in there, so I have doubled my foam tape up, and it works best to be able to wrap it around there if you just take off backing paper off the front and the back. So then I'll just continue to stick down some doubled up foam tape all over that background and set that off to the side. The little mice I thought would be perfect in my shaker. So I have trimmed down some more of that pattern paper. It had some stripes on it, and I lined up my little mice onto the stripes, and then I ran that through my Sizzix Sidekick. And I did that as many times as that stripe would hold the little mice. So I just went all across that stripe and got as many mice as I could. And it got a little away from me there, so I went ahead and ran it through, and then I stuck down the little mice a couple more times just to fill it in. They're just so stinking cute, and I thought they would just bouncing around inside that shaker would be so much fun. They would be cute running across your panel as well. So just ran that through that one last time, and then I'm going to go ahead and stick those onto my card base. I actually decided to take 2 of them and put some liquid glue on the back because I wasn't sure if these would bounce around enough that they would flip over. But I did want a couple of them to just stay put. So I put just a little bit of liquid glue on the back of 2, and then I put the rest in there. And then I took the rest of those sequins, all of those sequins actually, and I poured those right into the center. And those will fill my shaker. And then I will adhere down the top, making sure to really press down where that circle is so that I don't have any of those sequins straying out. And there it is. Oh my gosh, how fun. So now I'll work on the rest of the card. I'm going to stamp up my little image. This is the Cookie Mouse. He's so cute. I stamped him a couple times because I wasn't sure how many times I wanted him. But I only end up using one, and I'm stamping out the sentiments in there. And the sentiments that I'm using are going to end up saying, if you give a mouse a cookie, because I had to, right? I couldn't not do that. And then I go ahead and line some up for the inside as well, and these say, I like you more than chocolate chip cookies. I've colored and I've trimmed down my little mouse, and then I'm going to wrap some twine around the outside. I just put a tiny piece of score tape so that way I don't have to worry about tying it. I wanted it to just wrap around 2 times, and then that'll end up being the base of that, or the scrap of that will end up being right behind the mouse. So I use some liquid glue to adhere him to the front of the card, and I'll stick him off to the side to dry, and then I'm going to go ahead and start trimming down those sentiments for the outside of the card. And I don't want these to be straight. I thought about that, and I thought, nah, this will be kind of fun if they're a little bit wonky. So I'm just trimming them down. You know, each word is its own little piece, and I'll just keep trimming those out. It's kind of fun with all the different sentiments in there, how you can make that work out. And when I'm ready to go, I'll grab my crystal katana and that liquid glue, and I will adhere the words how I want them on the front of the card. And you could just have so much fun making different sentiments with this one. And that ends up finishing off card number 4. Super fun. So now I'm going to use the banana split option for this card. So if you buy the banana split kit, you will not only get the first 4 collections, which are what comes in the Double Dip Sunday kit, but you'll also get this little bit as well. So to start off, I have a piece of that Neenah cardstock in my Mini Misti, and I'm going to mask it off. I don't want to stamp the whisk, so I'm masking that off just with some Post-it tape. And then I'm going to ink that up with some Memento Tuxedo black ink. I end up having to do this twice, so I'll peel off that paper because you don't want to stamp down when you got the paper in there. And you can tell I didn't get all of it inked up, so I will just grab another Post-it and I will get that to mask over the whisk as well. So these kits really are a pretty good deal. They're actually a great deal. So like I said, if you decide to get the Double Dip Sunday kit, you will get collections 1 through 4. And if you do the Banana Split kit, you will not only get everything that came in the Double Dip Sunday along with all that cardstock, but you'll also get the contents to make what I'm using right now. To stamp out my whisk, I have covered my image with my embossing buddy because I plan to ink up the image with some Versamark ink and I want to emboss it. So now I am just masking the other part and inking that up with the Versamark ink, and then I will stamp that down. And then I'll pull that out, and I'm going to use some Ranger Platinum embossing powder, and I've just got a coffee filter to catch the excess. Tap off the excess, and I'm even going to use a small brush to get the places that I didn't want covered with any of the embossing powder. And it was just a little bit. And then I'm going to heat that until that is smooth and melted with my heat gun. So fun. And then off camera, I will just use a red Copic and a blue Copic to color in just the little bits. I'm going to trim this down using my wire cutter, or my Fiskars wire trimmer, and set that off to the side because I'm going to start working on my background. So I've got some blue raspberry and some wild cherry cardstock that I've trimmed down, and I am using the whisk and rolling pin die that came in this section of the kit. And I'm just running that through my Sizzix Sidekick. I haven't even trimmed these apart. You could easily trim them apart, but I'm just keeping them together. And I'm just going to run that through as many times as I can using just a piece of the cardstock that measures 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. And then I'll do that with the same size of red as well. Just getting as many as I can. And once I'm done with all the die cutting, I'm going to use this really cool tool by Sizzix called the Die Brush and Foam Pad. And that'll just help me get all the little bits and pieces out of the dies, or out of the die cuts. You know, as you notice in that whisk, you can see all those little pieces stuck in there. So I'll just set those on there and roll that brush right across, and it either really loosens them up or it just pulls them right out. And that takes a lot of the pain and anguish out of poking those little pieces out, because sometimes that can be a pain in the rear. So I had gotten this as a Christmas gift from my bestie Erica, and yeah, so I love this thing. It's fantastic. This is the first chance I've gotten to use it, and yeah, that thing will definitely be in my arsenal. Next, I decided to turn them all into stickers because they are fairly small. It could be a pain in the rear to try and just put some liquid glue on the back of those, or even a tape runner, so I decided to run these through my Xyron sticker maker. This is another awesome tool that I feel like I just have to have in my arsenal. I've thought about getting one of the bigger ones, but so far this one works pretty well because I typically like to just make stickers out of the smaller ones. And then I'm just going to rub my fingers over these and even use that little tool there. I forget what it's called. It's got the little ball on the end. And just make sure that I've got that sticker paper good and adhered. Then I can just peel those off, and there they are, stickers. And I'm putting that all over the back of a craft background. This is my card base. And I'm just going to do the different colors. Just covering that background until I'm happy with how it looks. I don't know what it is about craft and that like a light blue and a red together, just, I don't know, I just think it's so pretty. And it almost seems a little retro, maybe. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, especially when you're dealing with kitchen. So I'll just finish sticking those all over the back, making sure that they're good and adhered. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to flip that over, and I'm just going to trim off the excess with my scissors. Trim off that last bit, and then I will flip that over, and I just love the way that background looks. That continuation is just a neat look. Then I'm going to move on to my sentiment. I've decided I want to adhere some of that Diamond Sugar Dust by Craft Decor. And so I'm just taking some of that 1/8 inch score tape, and I'm just putting that all along the edge. You could do this with glue as well, but the tape, the score tape, makes it so much easier because it, you know, it's instant dry basically. Whereas if you used liquid glue on this part, you may get clumps. You know, you still have to wait for it to dry. So I've trimmed all those down, and then I'm going to use that coffee filter. I'll peel off all that backing paper, and then I'm going to just sprinkle some of that Diamond Sugar Dust all over the edges. It's subtle, but I like how it looks. And then I just will take the side of the coffee filter and burnish it into the score tape, just to make sure that it stays put. I mean, you're probably going to have some stray glitter because it's glitter, you know. Anytime I craft with glitter, I end up having it everywhere. I'll clean up my mess, and then I'm going to take some liquid glue on the back and just stick that all over the background. And then I will adhere that to the front of my card. I'm going to do it kind of at an angle. I wanted it to be a little bit wonky looking. Next, I'll take my paper piercer, and I will attach my little heart silver glossy dots by Pink & Main to the background. These are so pretty, and they match so well. I do like how all of the ingredients in the banana split and double dip sundae for the flavor of the month card just go together so well. And I'll put that last one on there, and then I'm going to take just a couple more of the stickers that I made. I'm going to stick those on the inside because I had extras, so I'll take one of the whisks and one of the red rolling pins, and I'll prop that in there, and then that will finish off my card. So let's take a look at the 5 cards I made today with the Flavor of the Month card kit. I will have all the information down below if it's something that you're interested in checking out. I would love to know which one of these cards was your favorite. That's probably my favorite part. If you liked this video, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And as always, guys, thank you so much for stopping by.